Welcome to Fitness Focus, podcast where we dive deep into the world of fitness and wellness. I'm your host, Diego Beiser, and today we have a fantastic guest with us, Thiago Marques. We've had a lot of great conversations in the past, and I'm happy to join you again. Thiago, can you start by telling our listeners a bit about yourself and your journey into the world of fitness?
Yeah, for sure. My name is Thiago Marques, as he mentioned earlier. I'm originally from Brazil. So I was born in Brazil, lived there for about 7 years before coming to the US for my dad's work. In terms of fitness, I really got started lifting my sophomore year of high school. So that's the first time I took a strength training gym class. I decided to do that. And that's really what got me into the gym. So now I've been at it since, when was that? About 2019. So it's been now like almost like 4 years, 3, 4 years. Yeah.
Awesome. And Thiago, it's great to have you here. Could you share a pivotal moment that got you into fitness? Is there any experience that got you started and motivated you to start lifting? Any of that?
100%. 100%. Yeah. So growing up, man, as like with a lot of guys, I used to be super skinny. So I was honestly always like really insecure about my physique. I'm going to be 100% honest. So I'd like go to the beach, man. When I was really young, like 7 to 10, I'd wear like a swim shirt and I'd be scared of like showing my body.
Right.
I'd literally be like, because I was so small. So I was really insecure growing up. And then like growing up too, it's kind of like the stereotypical thing, but I would always get those comments from like family members, like, you're so skinny, you don't eat. And that was up until I was probably like 13. They'd keep mentioning that. And I was like, fuck, man, I wish I could change this, right? Because it's not like I was eating a lot too, right? I had a really fast metabolism, but I just didn't really lift. Like I played soccer when I was younger. I did a lot of running, but I never really lifted. So it was kind of that. And then my sophomore year, I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a strength training class. I was kind of like nervous to go into the gym, dude. Like I used to think it was pretty intimidating, but I was like, fuck it, let's try something new. So yeah, I go,
Right.
right? You know what I mean? Like something new. So I
I'm
did
glad
a
you took
strength training
initiative.
class. Yeah, dude. Yeah. I had to make a change for myself, man. Seriously. Um, but yeah, so then I went to that strength training class, dude. It was a blast. I really fell in love with it then. Like I remember I was probably like first time I benched, I was struggling with like 10 pounds on each side, man. And this was like my
Right.
sophomore
Yeah.
year because I was really small, dude. I weighed probably like 130 my sophomore year, and I was, keep in mind, I'm like 6'1", like 135.
Yeah.
I was small as fuck. So that's kind of what got me there. It's a combination of the fucking like comments, people constantly telling you stuff, and having this insecurity, and it's like knowing that, you know what, I want to try to do something about it. That's kind of what.
That
Yeah.
negative reinforcement. All right. So I
Yeah.
know you're passionate about your training regimen. Could you walk us through your typical training week and what's your favorite workout and why?
Sure. That's a good question. In terms of training regimen, I've honestly gone through a few. Currently, I do the Arnold split, which is, chest, back, uh, shoulders and arms, and then legs. For each of them, like chest, back, shoulders, arms, legs, I'm usually doing about like 3 to 4 sets per muscle group. So total sets, you're looking at probably like 12 to 16.
Okay.
Yeah, like a typical. Do you want me to like run through what each day would consist of, or?
Oh, you could, or you could just give me your favorite workout.
Sure. Favorite workout? Probably gonna be barbell bench, man. It's a fucking
Okay.
classic, but barbell flat bench. It's honestly, it's got to be my favorite. And it's interesting because I will probably get into this later. I don't bench nowhere close to as much as I used to because I went on that cut. I went on a big cut. So I don't bench as much as I used to, but now I kind of changed how I bench. So like I used to always love benching, but now I focus more on like the pump and more on the squeeze. That's kind of how my training style changed. So when I bench, what I love doing, I won't actually touch my chest. I'll go like an inch above my chest and then I'll squeeze. And that way, you get that nice contraction, you get the
Right.
squeeze, but you're not resting, right? The moment you touch your chest, you're resting. So now I kind of changed my form with a lot of stuff to accommodate the kind of cut, and you know what I mean, and just go more for the squeeze and the pump. But yeah, that's my favorite.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
interesting. I like it. I like it. And
yeah,
many of our listeners are very interested in
sure.
hypertrophy. Excuse me. And what are some of the best exercises you found for your muscle growth, and what can you recommend for the listeners? And give us some tips for optimizing our hypertrophy in our workouts. Sorry, I kind of
That's a
butchered that,
great.
but
You're chilling. That's a great fucking question. And like, I think a lot of people, what they do wrong is like, yeah, training for hypertrophy. That's what I do now, and that's how I kind of changed the way I train. If you're training for hypertrophy, it's all about form, man. What people need to stop caring so much about weight. So like what I told you, like for bench, you train just for hypertrophy, I wouldn't even touch my chest. And I'd really make sure you can fully control that. You can fully control the entire movement. For me, like some of the best lifts, I think part of what makes in the physique really aesthetic is having like good, strong delts, good shoulders. So I would go hammer lateral raises, hammer front raises, and hammer rear delts. Best exercises, the classic lateral raise, but you want to make sure you're controlling that. So grab like I usually do like 20 pounds. Boom, hold the, and then hold at the top for like a second. Slowly go back down and like 12. I usually go 12 to 15 reps, like 4 sets. I
mhm.
think, yeah, definitely like hitting your like lateral raises are huge for growing those delts. That's probably my favorite.
Right.
That's what
And
I would do.
I know protein and carbs usually help with resistance training and it can enhance like the muscle protein synthesis. Are there any like proteins that you usually gravitate toward?
Honestly, you want to look for. I always look for an isolate. So when I'm buying protein, I don't like buying like the basic whey protein. I want to buy whey protein isolate. Therefore, they remove the lactose, take out the fat, and I don't get like bloating or anything. But again, that's
Mm.
kind of nitpicking. Always go for an isolate. And in terms of brands, dude, I like that ISO 100. I don't know if you know that brand. That ISO 100 brand, they got really good flavor. So they got like this fruity pebbles. They got this like gourmet chocolate flavor that's pretty good. That's usually my go-to. Yeah.
I should definitely look at that. And Thiago, I know supplementation has been a hot topic in the fitness world recently. What
Oh yeah.
supplements do you personally take, and how have they benefited your fitness journey?
Oh man, this we're gonna be here forever. But so yeah, as you know, man, yeah, I work at a fucking supplement store, dude. So I buy a lot more
Oh,
supplements than I
really?
really need. Yeah, I don't know if you knew. So I worked at Elite Nutrition. I've been there for a while now, like for the past year, and I get a pretty nice discount. So I'm buying a lot of shit, dude.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
imagine.
For me, like the honestly, if you're lifting, I feel like the basics. Obviously, you need protein, right? You need protein after you lift, as you mentioned, for that muscle protein synthesis. Your muscle fibers that are broken down need to repair overnight. You need that protein for that. That's key. That's number one. Two, I take creatine. I do 5 grams a day. Creatine for me, dude, is just that recovery aspect. Like I just notice, I just feel so much better when I'm on it. Are you on creatine?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I take it daily.
you
I
take
take
it
whey
daily
as
too, so
well.
you know what I'm talking about. So creatine is huge. Apart from that, I do vitamin D. I do vitamin D when it starts like cooling off. So like now, once the sun is not out anymore, like during summer, I usually won't supplement it, but like now, I always supplement vitamin D. Everyone is, especially like the like winter months here in Wisconsin, dude. Everyone's deficient. Like you really need
Right.
vitamin D, and it's like cancer preventative, man. Like there's studies that show like people taking like 100 up to like I take like 1,000 or 5,000 IU's. You can take up to like 100,000 IU's actually. There's not really like a cap in how much vitamin D you can take. It is a cancer preventative nutrient. It's I recommend everyone hop on that. So that's another one. I feel great when I'm on it. Another thing I got just recently I bought is L-theanine. You heard of that
Mm.
before? The
No, I
amino
haven't.
acid. So L-theanine, it's an amino acid that helps with. It's really good for calming. It's calming. So it's similar to So it's a GABA agonist in your body, and pretty much it helps you like calm down, and it gets rid of all like this anxious energy inside of you and sort of expels that. That's how I kind of
Right.
describe it. I take that honestly for just like anxiety relief and also to remain calm and focus. It does help with focus as well. And that's something recently I just tried out, dude. Because I like, not that I'm a super anxious person, but I like taking some things like if it's like exams are coming up and like I have some source of anxiety for whatever reason, I'll get on. Like I'll start taking theanine. I did CBD oil before. I'm not on that now, but I did that for again for like that calming effect, and I found that works really well. But the reason I'm not buying that again is because it is really expensive, dude. CBD is fucking expensive.
It
I
gets pretty pricey.
it gets real pricey. So that's why I switched over to L-theanine. Apart from that, I have a multivitamin I take, just a classic multivitamin, and then what else? Pre-workout. I take pre-workout, a bunch of different brands. Right now, one of my favorite brands that we sell at our store is called El Chapo. I don't know if you heard of El Chapo before.
No, I haven't.
It's really good. It's got a shitload of caffeine, ton of L-citrulline, beta alanine, all the good stuff. It's great. And then my last key supplement I take is a post workout, and I
Okay.
love this thing. It's pretty much it's just a bunch of like carbs and simple sugars, which is great
Okay.
to have like right after you lift. You replenish your glycogen storages, and I feel great taking that. And that's about all that I'm currently on. Yeah, right now. That's about everything.
Awesome. I've been taking magnesium and I've recently been taking some St. John's wort. I don't know if you've heard of that.
John's,
A little bit of
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
And vitamin C, vitamin D. I try not to take too many supplements, but those are the main ones.
yeah.
And
Those are good ones, man. You probably sleep like a baby.
yeah, I do.
The
I do.
magnesium.
Recently I have. But I know we talked a lot about supplementation, but rest is often underestimated in fitness. How do you approach rest and recovery in your training routine? And what role does it play in your overall progress?
Sure. That's a good question, man. I think people don't rest enough. I'm gonna be honest. If I'm in terms of rest, so I train like 5 to 6. I've been doing more 5 days a week, so I'm only doing legs like once a week now. And then I'll usually take 2 days to rest. So I'll take Saturday and Sunday off, and I'll come back Monday, chest day, and I'm fucking ready, dude. I'm feeling great.
Right.
Um, Another key thing I like to do is every like month or two, usually like every 2 months, I'll take a complete week off actually. And
Really? Okay.
this is a bit controversial, but I'll take a full week, and it's pretty much, and this is variable, man. Like it might be between like 1 and 3 months actually, but I don't know if this happens. Like I'm sure this happens to you as well. But you know, like when you hit that point where you sort of lose motivation.
Yeah.
Like you ever have that where you're going and you have all this shit to do and you're like, fuck, I really don't want to go this day. Whenever I have that built up, I'll take a full week to just rest. And then what happens is my motivation comes back. I'm like dying to get back in the gym. And I notice I'm usually come back a lot stronger. So like taking a week off, you literally come back stronger as long as your diet is still on point and you're still getting that sleep. For me, I usually come back stronger. So I like doing that as well. But yeah, rest is fucking key, man.
Yeah.
It's
I agree. I think
difficult.
people go too hard in the gym. They'll go like 6, 7 days a week, and that's just not good for growth and not and for progress. So I think you got a good method of taking 2 days off. I think that's when your muscles are going to grow the most.
Yeah.
So, but now over the years, your aesthetics have definitely and clearly evolved. How do you define your personal sense of aesthetics, and what motivates you to continually improve your physique?
Dude, that's a great fucking question, man. I mean, for me, so what happened was, yeah, for me, I used to not even be a huge as much into aesthetics. Like you said, it evolved, right? I went on this crazy bulk, man, and I hit 205 pounds about like 8 months ago. So this was like January. I was like 205, and I didn't really feel that aesthetic. I had a lot of strength, but I was building up a bit of fat. My face was kind of chubby. And that's when I made that shift. I was like, okay, now I want to cut. Now I want to get more into aesthetics. So then I went on this cut. started doing cardio, dude. I wasn't doing cardio. I was like a fat ass, bro.
Yeah.
Doing no cardio. Started doing cardio. Um, Started eating better, started eating right, cutting down the calories, entering a deficit. And then that's when I really started to explore more of how aesthetic I could really get. The cut went pretty well, and I feel a lot better. Obviously, I don't have as much muscle mass as I did, but
Right.
I find myself to be a lot more aesthetic than I was. And in terms of like maintaining aesthetics, it's just key to just really hit like every muscle group. You got people that if you're just going in the gym, just hitting fucking chest, you're just doing maybe like you're not hitting your calves, you're not doing everything. I feel like being symmetrical is the number one thing. So I just make sure I'm really hitting everything and putting emphasis on like I mentioned earlier. I think what makes an aesthetic physique is having those broad shoulders. Like you look at men's physique competitors, they have that really broad shoulders and like that thin waist. So I hammer abs a lot more now, and I do shoulders a shit ton, a lot of lat raises, a lot of front raises, and that way that builds that kind of aesthetic frame that I'm looking for.
Right.
Recently, my legs have not been where I want them to be at. I think they lost a lot of mass. They're not as aesthetic or whatever. But again, I put more emphasis on my upper body more than anything. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Great. Great. Love to hear it. And
Yeah.
fitness can have a profound effect on one's outlook of life. How's your fitness journey influenced your mindset, discipline, and overall approach to your life?
That's a great question, man. So in terms of approach to life, I think that just that discipline aspect, man, I think it helps. Like I said, when I was younger, I used to be really insecure about my physique, and going through that journey and go and having that discipline and removing that sort of insecurity is a really good thing for the mind. Just knowing you can conquer that and knowing that you're in control. So it changed my outlook on life in the sense that I feel like I have more control over it. Like you're not like this sort of victim. Because, I hear a lot of people, and I'm not trying to give them shit, but there's a lot of people I talk to, and they're like, bro, I eat so much and I don't gain fucking weight. I have a fast metabolism. Like, everyone has heard that person say that. And unless you're like 6'10", maybe you'll really have a fucking hard time. But if you're like 6'2" and below, like a lot of times that you're just not eating enough. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's about, for me mentally, what I had to do, man. Like I was one of those people with a fast ass metabolism. Like you talk to anyone that knew me middle school, I was skinny as fuck, but I ate so fucking much, man. Like I'd be eating like 6 meals a day, like eating like peanut butter bagels every single night, eating all my other meals, and that's the only way I could cross that plateau. That's the only like, and it what people don't get is like those people that say, and this is how it changed my outlook on life, right? Because it showed like you really have to put in the work and cross a certain boundary to
Right.
be better, to get to that level that you want to achieve. You know what I mean? Everyone can get to those
Absolutely.
levels. Like and this applies to anything. Like it applies to like getting that manager job that you think I can't do this, but you're not putting in that work. It's the same thing. So what I had to realize, I remember there was a point on my bulk to 200. This was like a 2-year thing. There was a point I was like I think it was when I weighed 180. That gap from 180 to 200 was almost impossible for me. And that's when I realized like I had to literally force feed myself. Like every night eating those peanut butter bagels, I wasn't hungry at all, but I knew I had to eat it. That was the only way I could cross that threshold. So it taught me discipline, and it taught me again, I am in control of my life. I can achieve anything. Like it sounds corny, like I can achieve anything I put my mind to, but it's almost
No,
like
absolutely.
you can really change, the state you're in. Like there's always, it's putting in that fucking work. So
Right. It's all
that's kind of,
mindset at the end of the
it's
day.
all about mindset. I learned the importance of mindset. Exactly. Importance of mindset.
Right. Another important thing is like balancing fitness with other aspects of life. It can be challenging. How do you strike a balance between your fitness goals and other commitments like work or family? How would you do that?
Sure. So I think I honestly didn't have the best balance before. So like senior year of high school, a lot of my buddies can probably call me out on this. Like I'd be at the gym all the time and I'd sacrifice like hanging out with my friends and shit because I got this obsession. And it became to a point where it was maybe like I didn't have that balance figured out. And the only time I learned that balance was actually in college. Because in high school, assignments are not that much work. I had my job, but it wasn't, I could still go to the gym whenever I really wanted to. When college came is really when I had to put that balance in practice because I'm like, okay, fuck, now I actually have a lot more work to do. And
Right.
I'm also, I have a job right now. And that's when I really started. For one, I cut down my workout slightly and I was more efficient. Sometimes, like back at home, I'd go to the gym, I'd probably be there like 3 hours, 4 hours. Not lifting, but I'd be like talking a lot and lifting, and then I'd go to like the hot tub, whatever. Now it's the balance is pretty much just being focused, man. It's like cutting procrastination is huge, dude.
Right.
Like the moment I start procrastinating is that's when you get fucked over. So it's like just being focused. Like I'm doing my coursework and then I'll go to my job and then I gotta make sure to like, all right, now I gotta allocate this hour and a half to go to the gym and really be
Absolutely.
focused when I'm there and not like waste time. So and that's why my lifts are about like hour and a half now. So
Right.
yeah.
That's great to hear. Setting and achieving fitness goals are crucial. So, what are some of the goals that you've accomplished in your journey, and what keeps you motivated to set some new ones?
For sure. I think my biggest goal ever since I walked in the gym was hitting 2 plates on bench. That was like the best. Dude, that
Okay.
was like the best fucking feeling ever. So I'd
Right.
say hitting 2 plates. Like there were always the weight goals. Like I remember going from like 130. I'd be like, all right, now I need to hit 140. Now I need to hit 150. Now I need to hit 160, all the way to 200. I had those weight goals. Same with cutting. The best feelings in terms of like actual like lifting like weight for me was definitely hitting 2 plates.
Okay.
For me, and yeah, that was a big one. And then honestly, like working on my form too. There was like before my, there's a lot of form I had to improve upon, if that makes sense. Um,
Right.
and in terms of like new goals, I mainly now like I'm just focused on form more than anything. So for me it's just being able to like master movement and really get like the best out of every movement I'm doing and get that squeeze, get that pump.
Sure.
um so I don't really focus on numbers anymore. I really focus more on form more than anything.
Perfect. Okay. And then have you heard of SMART goals? Have you heard of the it's a format to set goals,
Yeah,
specific,
yeah, no, I
measurable,
think I
achievable.
had, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So for
Yeah,
our listeners out there, SMART goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time based. It's a format for goals, and honestly, it's probably the best one out there. So what you do is you write each um, category, and so you pretty much just say it out in the universe, so you can set that goal in real life, real time. So that's just for our listeners out there. And nutrition plays a massive role in achieving fitness goals. Could you share your approach to nutrition, any favorite meals, and how you maintain your diet?
that's a good question. Yeah, man, nutrition is fucking key. What I always say, I was really talking to my buddy about this like the past weekend. I honestly like, I think it's almost like sleep. I'd say diet is like 50% of sleep is like 20 to 30. The lifting itself is like 20% in terms of making gains. At least I
Okay.
think. I think that diet is so key, man. Like eating the right things, getting that protein intake is so huge. For me, when it comes to meals, I do a lot of oats. So like before my lifts, that's what I recommend for the viewers out there. Best thing, pre-workout meal. I'll get like I'll do like 1 to 2 cups of oats, whole milk. I'll throw a scoop of protein powder in there. I'll throw peanut butter in there. And the peanut butter is the key because when you mix a fat with a carb source, it slows down the digestion of the carb. So you get that sustained energy release. It slows down the gastric emptying as well. So you want to always combine like a fat with a carb before a lift to get that sustained energy effect. So yeah, I do peanut butter, oats, milk, protein powder, and then I throw some raspberries on there. That's like my go-to pre-workout meal. If you like oats, I recommend it. I eat a lot of salmon. I eat a lot of eggs. Another go-to meal for lunch. This is like kind of an exquisite meal, but it's really fucking good, dude. So you get like
Yeah,
two
that sounds
slices of
good.
whole bread, two slices of whole bread, cream cheese, avocado, arugula, spinach, salmon, smoked salmon, like the lox, and then eggs on top, like 2 to 4 eggs. It's so good. So
Sounds
yeah, a lot of
amazing.
eggs, and then dude, I gotta like show you a picture of this. It's actually like everyone that tries it always loves it. It's really good. If you're a salmon guy, like, do you like
I love all
like
fish.
smoked
I love
salmon?
all seafood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you definitely like it. And then I meal prep my dinner. I have a lot of pretty basic, dude. Just because it's easy to just do rice, ground turkey, broccoli. I throw a shit ton of ketchup on there. I love eating that with ketchup. And that's pretty much it.
Okay, perfect. And I know we talked about plateaus earlier. Plateaus are something that all fitness enthusiasts face. How do you deal with them, both mentally and physically, and when progress seems to stall?
Yeah, dude. Plateaus are fucking huge, man. Happens to everybody. I think best thing to do if you hit that plateau, a lot of times is rest, man. A lot of times people who hit that plateau are outworking themselves and they don't realize they need a rest. So taking like if you hit that plateau, man, take like a fucking week. Take a week where you're not lifting, get your mindset right, and then come back in the gym. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna come back stronger. Again, assuming your diet is not complete shit. Um, I would say that's key. Another thing is like if you're so like if you're thinking so much about this number you want to hit, try to change that mentality. You know, like I used to be like that, man. Like I'd go in the gym and I'm like, I have this expectation of how many reps I want to hit. And that would like fuck with me mentally because I'm like, fuck, I didn't hit this many reps. Like, you ever have that happen? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no,
I try
absolutely.
to
Yeah.
change. It's like, you're like, fuck, dude, I want to hit 6 reps. I got 5. And it's like now I kind of change that. When I go in, I don't think about reps anymore, man. Like
Mm,
I used to come in like I need to hit 4 reps of this way, like 195 on that. I need to hit 4. Fuck that. I'll just go till failure. Just go
right.
till failure. That mindset. Then you don't have plateaus. The plateaus in your head. This number you want to hit. Fuck that. Instead, just go till failure in every set, and you're gonna pass that plateau. And then again, take that rest. You're gonna. That's probably my best advice. Stop being so fixated on this number. That's gonna hurt you mentally, and instead just train till failure. And if you feel like you really still can't cross the plateau, take that week to yourself.
Absolutely. That's great advice. And I know a lot of people face those plateaus, but honestly, it's all time, rest, and mentality at the end of the day. Thiago, who are your fitness models or inspirations? Oh, excuse me, fitness role models and inspiration. How have they influenced your training philosophy? Excuse me.
No, you're good. Great question. Dude, I mean, I grew up watching a lot of different people. Like one of the first fitness influencers that I ever watched. You ever heard of a Connor Murphy before?
Yeah, that name sounds absolutely familiar. Yes.
Dude, he went he kind of like people think he went like crazy. He like took ayahuasca like in the past like I don't remember, this was like 2019. He kind of went like off the walls,
Yeah.
dude. He was a bit crazy. Before all of that though, he used to do these pranks. This was like 2016. He'd do like these pranks of like taking his shirt off and like flexing in front of people. uh I used to like you know what I mean. I
Yeah, I
used to watch
remember
that shit.
that. I remember that.
Yeah, he used to do that. So Connor Murphy was like one of the first fitness influencers I probably ever watched. Apart from that, um, John Skywalker, he's a
Okay.
big one. John Skywalker, Jeff Side, uh, those are really the guys I watch. I've been watching a bit of Sam Sulek now. He's been
Yeah,
popping off.
me as well. I heard. I've been listening to him a little bit.
Yeah,
He's
he's
a
been
humble
getting
guy.
big. He is. It's crazy to me how it's just like watching him eat and stuff, man. He has
Yeah.
these crazy meals, dude. He drinks so much chocolate milk. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's a little unhealthy. He's definitely abusing PEDs. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
he's on a grind, he's on a mission. He
Oh
really
yeah,
wants to achieve his goal.
exactly. And for him, like, dude, his physique, his strength is fucking insane. Like, it's nuts. So
Most definitely.
he's doing well.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
he'll pay the price later, but at the same time, you want to be the best, you got to pay some sort of price, right?
Right. I think they all will at one point, all those bodybuilders. And also for those just starting their fitness journey, what advice would you give to them and to get started on the right track and stay motivated?
Sure. Um, Dude, I mean, honestly, I would say most important thing, like, don't compare yourself, man. Like, I compete against yourself. Like, I don't like to compare myself to others. There's a million other people with a way better physique than I have. But my physique is good because relative to a year before, relative to 2 years before, I look a lot better. So don't be comparing yourself to others. Everyone has different genetics. Everyone has different muscle insertions. Like you can have these fitness role models and these people you look up to, but don't be like, I want to have this guy's physique. I used to have that sort of mentality, but you don't get that. Everyone has their own physique. You have your own muscle insertions. So again, compete against yourself, right? That's the most key thing. When you're in the gym, just be focused, compete against yourself, and be consistent, man. I mean, that's the fucking key. And it's not really as hard to be consistent because once you start, you realize you grow addicted really quick. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
It's that thing. Like you start doing it, you feel so good. You get the serotonin relief release and everything. You feel amazing. You want to come back. You want to keep going. So being consistent is obviously key. I'm trying to think of anything else. Have fun with it. Most importantly, dude, have fucking fun.
Absolutely.
Like, don't be too hard on yourself. Like when you start, obviously you're not going to be that strong. The numbers aren't going to be there, but enjoy that journey because that's the best thing. You know what I mean? Like, especially enjoy your fucking newbie gains, dude.
Yeah.
Right when you start, your progression is insane. So take those 6 months and make the best out of it because your progression will be absolutely nuts.
Absolutely, that's some great advice. And I know, like we talked about in the beginning, you have some Brazilian roots.
I do.
Thiago, could you share some unique culture tradition, experience, celebration in Brazil that you personally find fascinating or particularly special, and what makes it stand out away from every other culture?
It's a good question. It's a lot of cultural things. One thing for us, like different from the US, is that in the US, I find like New Year's is not like the biggest celebration. So, like, usually I remember in high school, there would be times where we literally start school on like the second or the third. So in Brazil, New Year's is a huge celebration. And I'll tell you a tradition that we do as a family. Whenever I go back, I normally go back to Brazil in winter break. So I get to spend New Year's with my family. And that's like a huge celebration for us. Partying, we'll be dancing till like 6 a.m., getting fucked up. Everyone's having a good time. And
Absolutely.
yeah, one unique little thing we do is that normally, so my grandpa on my dad's side, he lives in Rio, right by the beach. And this thing we do is that on New Year's, we'll all go to the beach and we're like holding hands and you jump a wave and you make a wish and you do that 7 times. So it's like a
Whoa.
really
Okay.
it's like kind of like a family tradition more than anything, but you make it so like you're with your family and everyone jumps and you make a wish and you don't say your wish, you keep it inside of you, but it's like your wish for the next year. And that's like something that we all do. We've always done it. um just a fun little tradition, but yeah, we celebrate hard New Year. It's I think that's one of my favorite um celebrations.
Yeah, that's how it is in Colombia as well. So I
That's
can
it.
totally
Okay.
relate to that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, do you have any like crazy stories in Brazil? You've been to Brazil plenty of times.
Yeah.
Any fascinating, cool, crazy story you got?
Oh, let me think. Fascinating, crazy story. Um, Craziest thing I can think of is probably the New Year's Year party itself. And you can look it up, man. It's called Festa na Taipei. Festa na Taipei. And it's like, it's in Troncoso, Bahia. Bahia is absolutely beautiful. For the viewers listening, if you ever want to go to Brazil, go to Bahia. It's so beautiful, man. Like the way you see the scenery, the ocean. I love the ocean, man. Swimming, everything. So, and pretty much this party is absolutely nuts. It's $500 admission to get in,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah, dude. And it starts at 8 p.m. the day before New Year's, and it goes till 10 a.m. the next day, and it's on the beach. Everyone just fucking partying on the beach from 8 to 10 a.m. It's absolutely wild. Like that's probably like one of the craziest, really well-known parties. Like you'll get like some celebrities going down there and shit. It's a pretty well-known event. Yeah, that's probably one of the craziest things I could think
Wow,
of.
that's fascinating. I'll definitely have to check that. It's been a pleasure having you on the show, Thiago. And before we wrap up, is there any final advice or message you want to share with our listeners?
First off, thanks for having me, dude. This was great. I had a lot of fun, man.
Of
This was a
course.
good time. You know, I find myself too. I'm still learning, man. So it's one last piece of advice I share is always keep learning. Like I share what I knew. It's not, you know what I mean. But there's so much knowledge out there, and one
Right.
thing I love is just to keep learning. There's always something new that comes out. Especially like you see guys on like there's great like coaches on TikTok. You ever hear like JPG coaching? Like that guy. You know what I mean? So it's just keep learning, enjoy the process, and
Absolutely.
it's probably my last words of advice. Yeah.